Oh, hello, Durud and Shalom. We be live. Okay. So we are in our discussion group. No, I mean, are we not? No, we're not there in yet. So we are in the discussion group, but we're not in the group call. So the group call, 17 people are there. Let's jump right in and see who's already there. They're probably already talking right now. So let's see.
It's premium. He can't come on here.
Hey, Armin.
Oh, that's too bad.
Hello,
Hey, Armin.
Hello, Durud.
I see. Should be made
That was
of
on
Right.
Oh. All right, guys. Hi. I missed you so much. It's been 24 hours now. No, but I did really miss you guys. Yeah, I like it. I like it when it's less of us here. It's very chaotic on the open days, right? Sorry to the other people, but it's really hard to manage. And oh wait, is my mic okay? Do you guys hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, Danny. How are you? You were here with us yesterday, but you weren't. Your account was here, but we did. But
Yeah, I saw. I double checked that I don't have any open tabs or anything. No, it was just ghosts. And I came in after hours. I tried kicking myself to see if I would leave. I don't think it worked.
You were here with us in spirit. Yes. All right. Okay. Are you modding today?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go then. Wait. Actually, do you want to say anything, or should I start my first topic?
I think start your first topic. I don't have any ones yet.
Okay. So yes, I don't know why somebody's calling me. Let me call. All right, guys. So I do. Let me unpin. Oh no, let's not unpin. Look at that. Oh my god, you're so cute. Hey. The luckiest dog in the world, because I think I've never seen any dog get as much petting as your dog gets, Danny. So you're a great owner. Okay.
It's because he's the goodest.
That's great. Okay. So let me get started with the MOU and ask you guys where you guys think we are. Right. I've been speaking a lot about the MOU on the Persian show. I did an interview with an FDD expert. I don't know if you guys saw that. That went very well. Earlier today, we did a stream with Edmund Fitton Brown. I think I pronounced his name right? Yeah. So he is a senior fellow at FDD with over 30 years of frontline diplomatic and intelligence experience. So if you guys want to go watch that, it's on Liberty Politics YouTube channel. Earlier, I did that interview. I think it went very well. Great. Okay, Casey saying great interview. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Casey. I've been speaking about it, the MOU on the Persian channel with my audience inside Iran. So I know all the internal dynamics within the internal politics of the Islamic Republic and all the chaos it's causing over there. And speaking to Israelis about it, looking at the analysts and what they think, and I really want to get your takes on multiple different topics within the MOU. First of all, do you think are we going in the right direction? Are we not going in the right direction? What are your criticisms? What is your defense of the MOU or whatever the negotiations that are being done? There's the main defense right now for what the Americans are doing is that the MOU is not really a deal. What's written there is not as important as what actually happens, and we have to judge by what actually happens. And the Americans are just holding out a little bit, buying time before the midterms, but they still have the upper hand here. The Islamic Republic is so desperate, and probably beyond the MOU, they're giving so much to the Americans. And once it's all done, it will make a lot more sense. There's a lot, and right now there's a lot of attack on what's happening with President Trump and the way negotiations are going. So that's the defense of it. The attacks are that we're already releasing a lot of money to the Islamic Republic, where that this was supposed to be based on behavior, based on observable actions. The Islamic Republic hasn't done anything yet, and we've already given them sanctioned relief. We're already giving them releasing frozen assets. They already are receiving more money than they ever received with the JCPOA. This is way worse than the Obama deal. This is horrible. People are saying that, well, they're not going to get any money at all. They're going to get vouchers to spend on food in the United States. Well, I mean, food that they will go sell, obviously, and then they will have money for the food. So obviously, that's obviously what's going to happen, and then that money is going to get spent on drones and missiles, and enriching the IRGC and Hezbollah. All of the food that the Islamic Republic is getting from the United States, once the IRGC sells that inside Iran or Lebanon, will go directly into, I don't know, missiles that Hezbollah would be throwing at Israel and northern Israel and everywhere else. Obviously, that's what's going to happen. And this already looks like a worse deal than the Obama deal. That's what the criticism is, right? Another criticism is that everything was going so beautifully in the right direction. The Islamic Republic was so desperate; they were cornered, they were suffocating, and they were running out of money. And now they're getting a breathing room. And if we're going for a deal, now that the Islamic Republic finally is like farther away from the edge of the cliff, the deal, even if we do get a deal, is going to be a deal that is a bit more favorable to the Islamic Republic because they're not as desperate anymore. Again, a lot of defense for the MOU and the negotiations is that just look what's happening within the Islamic Republic, the chaos, the internal fighting, the division. Also, once we send the inspectors inside Iran, that is also going to be humiliating for the Islamic Republic. It's going to look ridiculous. They were acting like they're strong. They got no revenge for their supreme leader. Instead, what they're getting, if the deal goes through, is they're giving up enriched uranium for the sake of corn and wheat, and that would be humiliating as well. But at the same time, people are so that's the defense for it. The criticism of the MOU and the negotiations is that this has never been about selling corn and wheat. This was supposed to be about making the Islamic Republic surrender, and now we're not doing that anymore. It seems like we're doing the Venezuelan model where Ghalibaf is like Rodriguez, and President Trump seems to be happy with Ghalibaf, and that's what they're going to go with instead of the Iranian people have been forgotten. And also another criticism is that the President Trump is now saying that they could enrich uranium a little bit, that they could keep some of their ballistic missiles. Of course, that's the only way this works. So we went from saying that they should be not able to enrich uranium at all, and to them not having ballistic missiles, to let them keep their ballistic missiles, and also let them enrich uranium a little bit. All of a sudden, this is what President Trump's saying right now, and they're saying that they're trying to sell this corn and wheat to us as if it's a win, but this is not a win. This is just President Trump trying to buy votes, the farmers' votes, and so this is a short-term gain for President Trump during the maybe elections by making the voters happy, but long-term, we're giving more money to the Islamic Republic in a few months, more than when we give to Israel in 10 years. That's what they're saying. And all of the investments that we make in Israel for them to become stronger and being able to defend themselves, all of that is going to be a waste because we're now basically arming both sides. We're supporting Israel to defend itself, but we're arming the enemies of Israel even more by this money that we're releasing to them. So I'm saying all sides of this. You guys can see I keep switching. Like I'm defending it, I'm speaking against it, which I'm pretty sure is going to piss off everybody, right? Instead, when I'm giving you all sides of this argument, what I'm imagining will happen, like, oh, this is a fair expression of all arguments on both sides. I mean, that's very well done. But what I actually get is fuck you for speaking against my opinion. This is a fantastic 5D chess move, or this is the worst fucking deal in the history and far worse than the JCPOA. And if you think that this is far worse than the JCPOA, you're going to hate me for defending it. And if you think that this is a 5D chess move, that makes a lot of sense once it's all done, you're going to be like, fuck you for criticizing it. But yeah, here's where we're at. I'm trying to basically defend it and criticize it at the same time. Hopefully it's useful to some of you. And okay, so who's speaking now? Who wants to respond to this?
We have a lot of twos. Daniel's first.
Just real quick, did we have any solid evidence that the Islamic Republic started to getting the money that is in the MOU?
They have announced that at least 500 million of it has already been done, right? And there's more to come. So they're saying it's going to be up to like, at least from the initially it's going to be up to 10 billion. And then it's going to be, maybe 24 with the frozen assets, $1 billion. And then there's going to be 6 billion from the oil sales that they gotten so far. So that would, I think it would be 30 billion if these numbers are correct. But so far, I think like 500,000 of it has already happened. I don't know what stage of the process we are in at the moment, but I could double check that if you want.
But sorry, who did announce it? Like who told it? The Americans, the IRGC? Who announced it?
I don't know where I saw it. It was like on a news site, like not one of the fake ones, like one of the good ones. I think Fox said that. It was Fox mentioned it. Fox. I saw it on Fox News. So if it's wrong, just don't blame me. I could do some fact checking while people are speaking. Okay, go on, Noah. Who's next?
It's Noah, but he's not unmuting. Right.
Sorry, I didn't hear my name. My bad.
Okay, go on.
Well, yep. All right. Well, I'm not going to criticize you for partially defending it, but I'm perfectly fine waiting until August. I'm perfectly fine waiting until August until we have to start bombing them again. Because, well, right now the MOU is great ammunition for Democrats for the midterms because of the $300 billion. If it goes through, it will be much worse than the JCPOA. I do agree. And this also has feelings from like 2009 to 2015 when the US thought they could reform the Islamic Republic by putting in reformers or something like that. And we know that's just hogwash. The Islamic Republic cannot be reformed. It has to be destroyed because even if a small amount of it survives, there will be no freedom for Iranians. That's just my take.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. The optimistic take is that with Ghalibaf, if Ghalibaf, in his attempt to gain all power, he has to manage the IRGC and reduce their control over their economy, that would maybe going down that line, we will have a weaker IRGC and easier for the Iranian to topple the regime. That's the optimistic take here. If this is, I mean, here's the thing. One thing that we have to keep coming back to is that the Iranian people will have uprisings again, right? That hasn't changed. And the Iranian people are getting stronger every single time, and the Islamic Republic is getting weaker every time. So if we want to see, if we're looking at this as only like the Israelis and the Islamic Republic and the Americans, I think we're missing out an important part of this calculation, which is the Iranian people. if we add that to the equation, we're still moving towards toppling the regime. And I mean, if the Americans are not focusing on regime change, if that's not their plan, seems to be more of an Israeli plan than an American plan, whatever happens that weakens the IRGC because of the negotiations that they're doing might not be what we want, but if that's what we're getting, at least let's hope that it weakens the IRGC in the middle. So we're seeing that the IRGC, Armin, how is the IRGC getting weaker? They're giving them billions of dollars. I mean, well, to be fair, they lost, probably around $1 trillion with the Operation Epic Fury and everything else that happened after, right? And they also lost $2 trillion on top of that from everything that they tried to do to get a nuclear program going on, and that's all gone. So true, they're getting more than the JCPOA, but they also lost way more than that. And even if they get all of this, they're still not going to go back to where they were.
Okay, White.
Yeah, I think the problem is Trump doesn't play 5D chess. He's an egomaniac with small dick energy. Whoever whispers into his ear is his master. We have to figure some way to become the Trump whisperer, because like I say, he's surrounded by sycophants, and whoever kisses his ass and whispers it is, he does it, because that's why he's always he switches all the time. And it's not 5D chess. It's just that, like I said, he's got small dick energy. Well, that's just what I want to say.
I don't know if it's that easy, because remember what he did to Tucker Carlson not long ago? I don't think it's just whoever whispers to him. But I also wanted to attack the defense of the deal. The MOU is words on a page which can't be enforced against the parties. And the sole consequence of not abiding by the MOU is damage to the reputation of the countries for abiding by deals. So if it is true that the published terms of the MOU are fake and are just so that Galibaf can sell them for internal consumption, then it will still damage America's ability to make deals in the future when America doesn't follow those fake terms.
I mean, the MOU is not a deal, though. So there's that. And it is also vague enough for everybody, for President. I mean, the Islamic Republic is already violating everything in the MOU, even if it was a deal, which is not a deal, but even if it was, right? So the United States has enough excuse to do whatever it wants. Does that make sense, Danny? Like, there's open, like, it's so vague and flexible, and there's so much violation that already is happening that you could do whatever you want.
I'm worried that it won't be seen like this by outside observers. Like, people don't analyze that hard. If if the Islamic Republic is already not following the deal, and therefore if the US is not required to follow its parts, or how it works like that, they'll just see who makes the first really major violation.
Okay, I mean, Hezbollah is attacking Israel, and according to the MOU, both parties and their allies should not be attacking each other. So there you go.
Yeah, let's hope it's remembered this way. Okay, sketches.
Yeah, this is a race to disperse the funds. You're taking Iranian funds and using it to subsidize the election. After the midterms, you can bomb all we want. Right? And I'm going to tell you this. We can take the funds, disperse them. It's going to take a long time for that food to get there. So they're not going to be able to sell it quick. It doesn't just magically appear in Iran. That's not how things work. So it would take a long time to get the soy and the corn and all this shit. We could slow roll that. And then we could take it back and say, hey, you broke the deal. So not only am I keeping the money, you're not getting the food because you're breaking the deal, and still subsidize the midterms. And I'm not sure the Iranian people are going to be incredibly mad if that gets confiscated because the IRGC broke the deal, and then we use the win in the midterms to start immediately bombing the second the election is over, and do that for 2 years until we are absolutely sure they're broken to pieces. Like, that's not me being out there. He has done this kind of thing to win elections before. He did this. This was some of the promises he made when he started using tariffs to subsidize the people who voted for him. He's doing the exact same thing he did with the tariffs, but instead of the tariffs, he's using the money that's been confiscated from this evil regime. And I'm going to tell you something. I may be out there, I may be speaking out of turn, but if he uses this money to ensure he wins the midterm and then immediately bombs the ever-loving shit out of the IRGC, no one's going to give a shit in Iran because you got rid of the IRGC.
If that happens,
that's an if. That's an if.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right that if that happens, that would be fucking amazing. Okay. And then what if it doesn't happen? What if after the
do I think it's a smart deal if it goes through as is? Well, this is not a deal. This is a talks towards a deal. This is all conditional on behavior. I mean, you have to ask me to believe the impossible because you have to ask me to believe that Iran is going to keep their side of the MOU. I mean, you're putting me in a hard spot. How can I believe that Iran is going to keep their side of the MOU? Therefore, we're going to give them the money back or we're going to give them whatever. No, if they break the deal, we do whatever the fuck we want. So you're asking me, look, if I stretch and say, okay, ARGC is going to keep their side of the deal, so we're gonna give them the deal. Okay, then it's a terrible deal. But I doubt they're going to keep their side.
So that's not what I'm suggesting. I know IRGC breaks their promises all the time, right? But it is possible, even if they break their, they already have broken their promises. Okay, they do it like every 5 minutes. But it is like, what if even with those violations, there's still no military operations at a significant level by President Trump after the midterms? Then would you criticize it then after, if that happens?
I'm MAGA, make America great again. People make the mistaken assumption that means I worship Trump. MAGA are some of the people that are most critical of Trump, especially on local issues, especially on not being fast enough with immigration, especially about not arresting these disgusting judges, these mayors, these governors, these blue city governors. People make the mistaken assumption that because I'm MAGA, I just worship at Trump's feet. No, if he fucks up, and I'll call him on it. Right? This is a stupid assumption by echo chamber leftist. Oh, he's MAGA, therefore he must worship Trump. That's fucking stupid. We criticize him all the time. Every time he talks about his Operation Warp Speed, people fucking boo him. So that's a big assumption that MAGA just worships Trump. That's a misconception. If the midterms pass and the bombs don't start dropping, of course, everybody's going to be mad. And a lot of people are going to be mad if they don't start dropping before. If there's significant breaks and he doesn't do anything, that's also going to be a problem for the midterms. He can't just take the money and push the money out and something big happens, some people die, some places get bombed, and he doesn't do shit. It won't matter how much money he spreads out. It'll be smart, it'll help, but if he doesn't react, he can take the money, spread it, react before the midterms, and then just have the double power of, hey, I hit him hard, plus I gave you their money. So if he does that, he's smart. If he doesn't do that, wait, let me put the right face on. Okay, let me fix this. All right, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm about to chimp out. Okay, we do like Trump, but only as far as he protects our interests. All right, and he would have to take the money, spread it out. If they break the MOU, if they break the deal, hit him hard. If he takes the money, no matter how many industries he subsidizes, if he takes the money and they do something big that's bad, people are going to be against it no matter what. Conservatives are more policy driven. We're not like cult people. The cult people are the Democrats. They're the ones that went after Kamala, knowing what a horrible person she is, because they have a cult following, and whoever is the leader, the dear leader, they're Xi Jinping, they're Kim Jong-un, they follow. We're not like that. For us, we get pissed at Trump every time his fucking local policy is shit. We got pissed at him about fucking Pam Bondi sending a whole bunch of strongly worded letter and not getting people arrested. At least the new guy is putting out arrest warrants on these governors, on these mayors, on this election fraud. That's what we want. Like the disgusting, stupid echo chamber notion that MAGA doesn't criticize Trump is just retarded.
We got that point. We got that point. Okay, MAGA criticizes Trump, but like,
okay, I'm gonna go back to Happy Monkey.
Happy Monkey. Okay.
Okay,
but just say yes.
Hi.
Just say yes or no. Yes or no. Okay. No, nothing other than yes or no. If after the midterms, President Trump doesn't go to bombing the Islamic Republic, you would speak against President Trump? And this
I would chimp out. I would totally chimp out.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go to Jeffrey next.
Jeffrey.
All right,
Uncle
let's
Jeff.
go to Jeff next. Oh, he's here.
Oh, here.
Okay.
He's here.
Sorry about that. I had to take a quick business call. All right, so couple of things. The MOU isn't some grand diplomatic reset like the Obama's fucked up JCPOA. It's a tactical operational pause forced by some very real constraints on the U.S. side. What's the munitions reality? When you have
Jeffrey, your audio is low. Is there a way you could improve your audio? Because you're saying people.
All right, can you hear me better now?
Yes,
better?
Much better, much better.
All right, so the munitions reality, when you have certain member states in NATO, particularly Western NATO states like Spain, United Kingdom, France, and Germany, be like, nah, on the airbase access for the strike packages. It forced the Navy to lean almost entirely on carrier air wings and submarines for the deep strikes, and that burns through TLAMs and JASMs and high-end standoff munitions at a really, really fucking high rate. I've gone through that in other shows, what the open intelligence source estimates show regarding overall percentages and like what that burn rate is to replacement rate and all this other shit, and the fact that President Trump is like implemented numerous national like policies and and executive orders to crash build out our national defense industrial base, producing offensive and critical offensive and defensive munitions that were just were cannibalized by leftists and ronbots. You can't surge those like critical off standoff munitions the way you can JDAMs off of an air base. So yeah, we're trying to buy time to replenish magazines and reset the fleet, not to run magazines dry with all this other stuff going on everywhere. So not some kind of, it gets annoying as shit because you got never Trumpers, some in this room that are just itching to try and turn it into something that it's not. As far as like comparing Obama's JCPOA to the MOU, nothing alike. Obama's path was a pre-strike diplomacy with the mullah regime that illegally occupies Iran that had not gone full mosaic defense yet, had not fully hardened or dispersed its nuclear missile sites, and was operating in a much softer strategic environment. There was no active Ukraine war draining Western stocks, Chi-Coms getting ready to hit Taiwan, and all the other shit, right? He could have hit them very easily in 2009, chose not to, because to him it was like muzzy, same, and he had people like Valerie Jarrett read The Grinch That Stole Islam whispering in his fucking ear. Conversely, President Trump's path came after Iran had, the mullah regime that illegally occupies Iran had years to build exactly a layered, redundant, hardened network. And still, the U.S. plus Israel hit 21,000 targets on the board across mullah-occupied Iran, their proxies in Lebanon. That's not nothing. That's actual degradation of capability. So the mullahs got hit hard enough that the regime is no longer the regime it was prior to those strikes. And the Iranian people's protests and cries for help were part of the equation too, right? It wasn't just Donald had a harder path to strike the mullah regime and chose to in no insignificant manner because he heard the Iranian people that asked for his help. Unlike Obama, who went, yep, you should challenge the election for Amazon dinner jacket. Oh, shit, cracker. I'm going to sell you out and invite these motherfuckers over for a barbecue. So the MOU's real purpose on the economic side. So there's definitely issues with that. I don't want to belabor the point. I went through the positives and negatives of trying to do things like food aid and, and smart sanctions and all that. The reconstruction money, sanctions relief, and asset releases, at least as they are structured, are deliberately structured to try and starve the regime remnants while giving the population just enough to keep them from suffering unduly. That's why you have food vouchers that are non-fungible and all the rest of this stuff. So it's very, all of that to say, well, okay, I'll go through the quick benefits. You have humanitarian for civilians. It boosts American farmers and ag exporters with major sales and staples of corn and wheat and the rest of that to offset the economic damage. It's leveraging the discussions we're having while we're still doing all the stuff we ever have to do. It has some elements within it that tries to limit the redirection of funds, albeit it's not 100%. And it counters propaganda and builds soft power. So the challenges, the regime, if they reject the conditions as violations of whatever, they're going to want unrestricted funds. They can diverge it, they can divert it and, take advantage of enforcement gaps. There's banking and practical hurdles, domestic political backlash in the United States by hawks like me and, others. It has limited real impact regarding punishing the regime. It's true. So those are the pluses and minuses of taking this approach within the broader environment that exists. I'm going to end with this. All of this very much illustrates again why Track 2 material support efforts and or third parties supporting things like Operation Sovereign Tide, which is recognizing His Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi and the transitionary government as the official government in exile to streamline all these legal gates so that we can then support lawful unconventional combatants that can then liberate things like very large oil tankers and then sell them bring them back to a port that is friendly, sell them on the market, I would contend disproportionately or targeted sales that help out the alliance, is exactly what needs to happen. Period. Right? So all this bullshit and hullabaloo and constant every fucking day, it's just goddamn exhausting. Oh my God, is this the time to fucking shit on Donald? I'm going to say it again. It's never the time to shit on Donald. He's your fucking president, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you shoot him and assassinate him, you're going to have Vance. So, I don't know, maybe just shut the fuck up and stop trying to turn this into like fuck Donald Day, because that doesn't do anybody any goddamn good, especially Iranian resistance. Period.
All right, thank you, Jeffrey. Samantha is next. Is there Samantha?
Yeah, I see her. Guys, be ready when it's your turn to open your mic.
Yeah, maybe I'll post the list in the chat more often. Okay, I'm gonna skip to.
Wait, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I was having trouble with my. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a terrible deal. I think the only possible way you could argue that this was a good idea is if you can make the tactical retreat argument for this. And, a tactical retreat argument implies that we're going to be in a stronger position to fight them later. And the only way I could see that being true.
Samantha, we can't make out your sound.
Things would go in such a
Samantha, you're going robotic. Your audio is great. I don't know why your audio is getting worse and worse every day.
I think maybe your internet is bad right now. Maybe type it in the chat.
Yeah, your audio is getting worse by the second.
Okay. Does this work now?
You're back now.
Does this work now?
Yes, it works now. So just make your point before it gets worse again.
I mean,
Right? Nope. You went back to being robotic, so let's move on to the next person. Really bad. So you could type it in the chat if you want. Okay.
I'll
so-
move on to Richard, and Samantha, type the rest of your point in the chat. I'll read it for you after. Okay, Richard, go ahead.
Thanks a lot. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to add, I big picture here, just given how much the regime's been weakened and how much the Iranian people have been strengthened, I'm confident, optimistic in a long-term resolution in Iran. I think the MOU and a lot of the negotiations are very foolish because they're betting on a short-term gain that likely won't happen. I'm talking about the midterms. All the data I'm seeing polling, basically the energy on the left. I don't think there's any stopping the blue wave, and Trump is probably doing more to fracture his base with the back and forth Iran stuff. And I don't think he'll be able to sell it to the isolationists who Vance is constantly preaching to, regardless of what happens. So I suspect that I think in probably in the aftermath of the midterms, this whole thing might be very widely criticized, 2020 hindsight, basically saying, look what we gave up relative to what we thought we would get, and it didn't stop the blue wave. We probably can expect nonsense investigations, Trump impeachments, all that fun stuff, just like 2016, 2018 last time. That's my prediction. I'm just going on the record with that, but we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, that's the last two that we have. So let's go to super chats. I know you like the word
Okay.
super chats.
Okay, yes. Let's read the super chats. Somebody was asking what kind of tea I'm drinking. It's strawberry tea. But let me read the super chats. Okay. So Shen is saying Magnum Opus Armin. Dijal. Thanks for the help. Pax. I don't know what this means. Can somebody translate? Dijal, thanks for the help. PAX. Okay, I think this is a message for Dijal. If anybody understands, tell me. But thank you.
Someone is thanking Dijal and peace. Pax kind of like means peace. Like, hey, thanks Dijal, peace.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for the translation. And thank you for the super chat. Fleshy Interloper. Huh?
Who's thanking me?
Somebody in the chat was thanking you. You want me to read it again? So it's Shen Nung 420 was thanking you. All right. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Fleshy Interloper, thank you for the super chat saying critical oil products were weeks from running out. Yeah, that's why I think that maybe they could have received. The Islamic Republic was so desperate, and I think the Americans could have asked for more, given how desperate they were. And we got another super chat. Justin saying one thing that's got my eyebrow raised is Lindsey Graham, I think has been beating the war drum for regime change this whole time until his 4.5-hour meeting with Trump the other day. Now he is all about the deal. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't know what happened in that 4 hours. He was starting to criticize the MOU and the deal. I don't know what Trump showed him, or was there a 5D chess plan that was revealed to him in that 4 hours? Because he's now all for the MOU and getting to a deal and everything. I don't know what happened in that 4 hours, but that's very interesting. Yeah, I saw that as well. Just a very interesting point. Shauna, thank you so much for the super chat saying Iran could break the deal and we could ignore it. Yep, I know. That's exactly what I was thinking when I asked Sketch, what if, because they violate the deal all the time, if there is they violate the agreement ceasefire all the time, and President Trump still calls it a ceasefire, so they could violate any deal that they sign, and we could pretend that they didn't. So again, Sketch said that if that happens, he's going to chimp out. So can't wait to see. I hope that doesn't happen, but at least if it happens, we get to see that. Justin, thank you so much for the super chat saying the presumption for Trump waiting till after midterms is because of oil prices. Yes, MAGA doesn't like higher oil prices, but they hate embarrassment more. Interesting. I don't know what MAGA wants, because I think there are so many different definitions of MAGA, and it's kind of different MAGA people are takfiring each other. I don't know if you know what takfir is. What's the English word for that? When you basically announce somebody not part of your camp anymore. It's like, I don't forget. When the Catholics basically
Declaring someone to be an infidel.
no. When there's a word, English word, when you basically announce somebody as not a Catholic anymore.
Announce.
No,
Or
no.
Excommunicate?
announced or excommunicate.
Excommunicate. So there's so many different people saying, I'm MAGA, you're not real MAGA. There's a lot of excommunication happening. So what MAGA really is, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't think there's a clear definition of what MAGA is. I mean, if MAGA is pro-Trump, then yeah, maybe. And thank you for Justin for the super chat. Amir with the super chat saying Israel is sick and tired to be the new what is this? Saguntum? I don't know how to pronounce this. Danny, do you know what this is about?
Saguntum, it's some city in Spain. I remember there was some battle there from the ancient Romans, the famous one, but I don't remember much else.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Amir. Fleshy Interloper saying out of standard missiles, SM2s. So Jeffrey, really short answer. Fleshy is asking for clarification. Are the Americans out of standard missiles, SM2s?
So I think they mean SM3 and 6s, and we burned through a very large percentage of our global stocks of both SM3 interceptors, which is one of our more important legs of our global missile defense system, that's sea-based mid-course on Arleigh Burke Aegis cruisers and destroyers, and SM6 standard missiles, which can do both offensive and defensive. We burned through a lot of them, and not the least of which is because the 4 member states of NATO that I outlined, not all of NATO, fucked us and didn't let us use our air bases when we did our strategic bomber bed down, right? To then use them to go along with the strikes that we did out of our carriers and our subs. So now we're in the position we're in, which is why now you have the head of NATO visiting here, who's going to get a hell of a talking to.
Just
I looked up.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you go ahead, Danny.
I looked up the Battle of Saguntum, and it was the first battle in the Second Punic War, where Hannibal was sieging them, and they asked Rome for help, and Rome did not send help. So what he means is that Israel shouldn't be like abandoned when they need help.
Okay. I would really, Jeffrey, I don't know if you could answer this in like one sentence or not, but wouldn't it take years to replace these, like restockpile these missiles, if that's the issue?
Yeah, that's actually why President Trump signed the executive order to do a crash build out of our national defense industrial base with a specific focus on
just say yes or no, because if it takes years, then we're not going to be able to go back to kinetic military operations against the Islamic Republic.
That's not true. So yes, that said, there are other ways to put warheads on foreheads. We just have to juggle things because certain people fucked us.
Okay. And then Fleshy Interloper with another super chat saying how to keep Strait open militarily. Jeffrey, you want to answer this? Again, 30 seconds if you can, so we could get to the next topic. Sir, I know it's hard to answer that in 30 seconds.
I mean, optimally, it would be we did 5x5, a mass bombing campaign to kill the rest of the regime and eliminate the repressive elements so that they wouldn't have the ability to do any of the stupid shit they're doing now. That said, it would have to focus on our heavy bombers, and that would have to require some other things. And, hopefully those Western NATO countries don't fuck us again, which I'm pretty sure Trump is going to punish them because they fucked us.
Here's a short answer. Arm the Iranian people so they could do the regime change, and then you don't have to open the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. Thank you. I got a clap. Sean over the super chat saying, I'm an American. I'm allowed to shit on whoever I damn please. Presidents can be criticized. So I think that's a response to Jeffrey telling people not to shit on President Trump. He's saying, as an American, I could shit on whatever president I want. And then we got another super chat by Noah. Thank you so much, Noah, the Persian American, saying, I do believe what Jeffrey and you said, and I am grateful for the reminder that the MOU is not a deal. I just want my ancestral homeland free. Yes, so do I, Noah. So do I, and we will, like, whatever happens, we'll keep fighting. It will be free. It's just a matter of when, not a matter of if. And thank you. Fleshy Interloper with a super chat saying, big Japanese for minesweepers? Question mark. I think Americans have their own minesweepers, no? They're pretty sophisticated minesweepers. And thank you, Fleshy. And then Selectivist saying, Wyatt's criticism of Trump was totally valid. Usual suspect sycophants have no right to tell him to shut the F up. Shameful, and apology in order. Well, I mean, I think Wyatt has every right to speak about President Trump the way he wants. But I also think that people who want to respond aggressively, they also have the right to respond aggressively, right? So I think Wyatt has the right to be very aggressive with his criticism to President Trump, and the people who want to respond to him aggressively because of his criticism, they also have that right? It works both ways. And thank you for the super chat.
Jeffrey wanted to respond about minesweepers.
So the reason we have an issue with minesweepers is Biden actually decommissioned a lot of our minesweepers. They're a bit older. We are leveraging things like underwater drones, like autonomous drones, to sweep for mines. So we're doing that. Thank God we invested in that. If we didn't have Biden do that, we wouldn't have had to ask Japan for that. And not for nothing, I'm not saying people shouldn't voice their conscience. I'm saying there's a difference between voicing what you observe, like legitimate criticisms, and or just co-opting challenges that we're facing without any idea or care in the world what underwrites those challenges to serve a partisan goal. Like, there are many things that I hated President Biden for, and I had legitimate personal and professional reasons to do so, including the fact his crackhead son stole my work regarding Ukraine. I supported the office of the president when it came to things like supporting our Ukrainian allies, and that also applies now with people who don't like the guy in the White House now. If you really care about Iranian people, then it very much, that kind of observation you need to have, like, you should be, you should have you should support the office of the president. That doesn't mean always agreeing. It means if you disagree, it should be rational, not like a bullshit verbal war of an emotional attrition. Like, that's not honest shit. I think Iranian resistance and the kids that died deserve far better than that. Just like Ukrainians that died in resisting Putin's legal war of aggression in Ukraine deserve me supporting the office of the president or a guy I didn't like.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Let's move on to the list. First, I have Daniel, and his topic is Out and About War in Iran.
All right, go ahead, Daniel.
Well, so the first thing is, like, not so connected to Iran, but actually this is the first time in about the last 20 years that the Vice President of the United States has any significant role. And, like, I don't know, maybe he really tries to play his own game and be the isolationist. Or maybe this is just another trick like they played with Tucker Carlson. This is the first thing. The other,
Dick Cheney was very influential when it came to the Iraq War.
well, like, it's it is Iraq war, but it's more than 20 years.
Oh, okay. Okay. Seems just like yesterday to me. Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is, while there is so-called deal with Iran, Ukraine actually takes out all the oil infrastructure of Russia. Like not all of it, but the the most critical points. And I think it's kind of a little try to supply some oil while Russia is getting bombed. I don't know. Like this is maybe somebody has to comment on it. And while the last thing is, while everyone talks about Israel has been like thrown under the bus, but is it so? Because like I think it's more of a little play before US gonna make a move towards Cuba. Like
I don't know
they were all
what kind of a play justifies speaking so shitty about Israel. I mean, if it's a 5D chess plan up there, there's a lot of damage control we need to do after this. Israel is right now. The Israel in the United States is the view on Israel is getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and this is not good for Israel. And having the president of the United States come out and speak against Israel like that is like a catalyst to how fast the Americans are turning against Israel. So if this is a 5D chess plan for something much bigger, it better be really, really fucking good, because the damage that is being done to Israel is devastating right now.
yeah. My hope is also on that as an Israeli, but like seriously, this MOU thing is about a week on the media and everybody like going nuts about it, but it's a memorandum of understanding. They're like signing a paper that says that they will that they are willing to understand.
That's so. I'm not talking about the MOU. The MOU is just an MOU. It's not a deal, okay? And whatever happens might be different from the MOU. But the statements against Israel, okay, those are here to stay with us. That is going to turn many people who support President Trump. They're going to now have a negative view on Israel. It's becoming a bigger and bigger thing in the United States to shit on Israel. It's becoming like everybody on all sides. Like we have the left, we have the woke right, and now we have a huge part of MAGA also joining in on this.
Well, just from my perspective, like, is it worse when Obama Biden were the presidents?
Surprisingly,
like, I really try to understand.
That's what surprisingly, because the statements against Israel right now and under a Republican administration is more aggressive than any other, like even Democrat administrations. That's why this is very surprising. Like we haven't seen any statements like this against the White House, against Israel from the White House since, I don't know, the Suez Canal situation.
Because America has the best strategists. Like they know how to do like regime changes in place like Chile and other places. So I don't know. It's like it's hard to understand why would the best strategists in the world go and tell Trump like, oh, take JD Vance and tell him shit on Israel.
Because the strategist, because the goal of the strategist is to win elections. Maybe because the goal is different from what you have in mind. Maybe the strategists are not retarded. Maybe the strategists are actually very smart, but they have different goals.
Okay, Noah has a response.
I know that as a Christian, any criticism against Israel made by Republicans, it's very turned off. Like, it turns a lot of people off, especially evangelical Christians who are the majority of Trump's base. So it's very, so they can, like, they may choose not to vote at all. So they may just say, well, if Trump is going to criticize Israel like that, I'm just not going to vote. I'm personally not saying that. But I know a lot of people on the evangelical right are turned off by this. So
one thing I'm going to predict is that at some point President Trump is going to come out and say so many positive things about Israel and Bibi, and then people are going to come to us and say, like, see, that was all just a show. You guys should have waited. And then we wait, and then at some point he's going to go say something negative against Bibi again, and then it's going to go back to positive, and then negative and positive, and it's a roller coaster, guys. We just should just enjoy the ride. I mean, yeah, whatever. All right, who's next?
Sketch with one more response.
You kind of said what I was going to say. We're what? How many months out from an election? You think what is said now matter? Let's go back through any midterm, any presidential campaign, and see how much what is said this far out matters.
All right, thank you, Sketch. Do we have super chats?
We have one gift basket from Amir with 5 membership gifts to the people in the chat. Thank you so much, Amir, for the gift basket. 5 people are now members because of Amir. Thank you, Amir the Cricket. Appreciate that. So thank you. All right. What's the next topic?
Okay. Next topic is U.S. Energy Secretary says 20 million barrels of oil crossed Hormuz in 24 hours. So oil crossing Hormuz by NOAA.
yeah, so the Energy Secretary made an announcement saying that that 20 million barrels have been flowing through the strait in the past 24 hours, which, if true, that means we're back to pre-war levels. However, I was also looking at another article from the Times of Israel, which I'm not sure if to trust it or not, saying that from analyst firm Kepler, there were 71 confirmed transits over the weekend. And before the war, there were about 100 to 130 vessels that passed through the strait each day. So maybe there were 20 million barrels going through smaller ships. I mean, smaller number of ships. But yeah, I mean, if this is true, hopefully gasoline, petrol prices go down by a lot, back to pre-war levels. But just want to see what your intake on this is.
So what's the exact question? Let me see Brent oil. Ooh, actually, we haven't checked this for a while. Guys, oh my God, we're under 73. Brent crude oil price is 72.82. Holy shit. Whatever is the way, there's that at least. Hopefully this will have a huge impact on hopefully this will reduce the Democrats' hold on power. We'll see. But sorry, Noah, can you ask a question again?
Yeah,
go on.
Yeah. So do you believe the report from the Energy Secretary when we're back to pre-war levels? Do you think he's right on that?
The traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, are we back at pre-war levels? That's the question. The traffic at the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. So here's Noah, I'm gonna give you a scenario, and I have no idea if this is right or not. Okay, but I'll give the theory, and you tell me if you think this is how likely it is that this is happening. Right? What if President Trump and Ghalibaf came to an understanding that, listen, we're gonna immediately get the traffic levels to normal at the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. And then Ghalibaf like, but no, but I can't do that. If I do that, if the Strait of Hormuz is open, I'm not going to be able to have the upper hand within the regime, and I'm not going to be able to do what you want me to do, like like the good little bitch that I'm supposed to be for you, President Trump, so that you don't kill me. And Trump is like, okay, I'll do you a favor. Open the Strait of Hormuz completely, and then I'll get all the supplies, all supply out. I'll go tell everybody that the strait is open. But here's what we do. We get all the ships to turn off their transponders, and they go through the Strait of Hormuz at night. So there's no evidence that the ships are going through. You don't shoot at them. They go through. You go tell your people that it's closed. I go tell my people that it's open. Oil prices will drop. And then Ghalibaf is like, okay, can I do some radio messages to the ships telling them not to go through because the Strait of Hormuz is open? And then Trump's like, fine, put those radio messages out there, but no drones, no missiles at commercial ships. Just do a radio message out there. But that's about it. And like, okay, then go tell your retarded followers that the Strait of Hormuz is closed, but we know, me and you know it's open. And then the best way, but nobody could see that the Strait of Hormuz is open because they're going through the Strait of Hormuz at night with the transponders off. So he could claim that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And you have the radio messages to prove that. But again, even though nobody could see, the market sees the supply. Because how do you explain, if the Strait of Hormuz is not as open as we think, how do you justify oil prices at 72.82? Remember, people were thinking that, oh my God, the market is so stupid. Why are the oil prices not at, I don't know, 200, but the Strait of Hormuz is closed? And then we realized that the market was not stupid. The amount of oil that was coming through the Strait of Hormuz was actually much higher than people knew because, the American Navy was very successful at getting these ships through. So I forgot what the number was, but a lot more oil was coming through the Strait of Hormuz than people realized. And the market sees the supplies and prices prices each barrel based on the supply. And now that the price is a lot, so much below 80, maybe the Washington, the White House is correct that it's open, and CENTCOM is correct that it's open, and the Islamic Republic is full of shit like they usually are. So maybe that's what's happening. And that's that theory that I just came up with over what the deal is between Ghalibaf and Trump. If that is the case, it also shows you that the MOU is just for show, and there are other agreements that are happening behind the scenes. What do you think, Noah?
I think that's very likely because that is exactly what happened right before the ceasefire when the ships turned their transponders off and they were guided through the strait. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Thank you for the enlightenment as usual.
Okay. By the way, just to be clear, I don't know if that is true. I just offered it.
But it makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Let's go on to Super Chat.
We got one Super Chat from Hamid. Thank you so much, Hamid, saying, hey, Jeffrey, how are you doing, buddy? Jeffrey, are you here? He has a full question for you. He's saying, hey, Jeffrey, how are you doing, buddy? As an Iranian, we feel betrayed. I hope I'm wrong, but Trump saved IRGC from certain collapse and didn't let Israel destroy the IRGC, buddy. So, Jeffrey, what do you want to say to Hamid?
First, just know that regardless of what happens at the national level or how it's misrepresented by the regime remnants filter net, the people who sacrificed themselves during the January protests, what they obtained can never be removed or wiped away by the regime remnants. Everybody, all the free peoples in the world know that the regime, and now its regime remnants, does not represent the people of Iran, and you will never have to walk that road alone again. That being said, I'm going to move on to your question. I would not dismiss, I wouldn't be so presumptuous to dismiss how you feel. The decisions that are made has nothing to do with hating Iranian people. We're just moving on to the additional phase of liberating Iran, in many ways, track 2 material support strategies. In part underwritten by the fact that there are challenges we have to juggle vis-a-vis Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state, the Chinese Communist Party, and certain other people that undermine the efficacy of the conventional military phase of Operation Epic Fury. President Trump loves Iranian people, bro. Like, when those reports that are made where Bibi showed President Trump what the Mullah regime did to kids, that was like a day before he loaded bombs on planes to kill them. Like, he had to walk out of the Oval Office. He was so angry. And while it is not the primary issue, I would never be dishonest and say that, it was a strong secondary issue. And that love is still there to this day. Even if regardless if we have to pivot, and it's not as expeditious as Iranians justly deserve, I meant what I said. The free peoples of the world are all with you. You will never have to walk that road alone again.
One thing I want to mention, guys, is that to whatever you think about the leaders of these countries, Israel, United States, we have as people of Iran and Israel and United States, we might disagree over whether the strategies, the political strategies of these governments were correct or not. Except like when it comes to the Islamic Republic state, I think we all agree, fuck them. But one thing that we need to there is a different bridge that is being built here. We have the states, and they're dealing with each other, and the terrorist groups and the states, they're dealing with each other. But separate from that, we, the people, we should be able to build a bridge between us, regardless of what's happening between them. And if we get upset with the leaders, the political leaders, I think we should figure out a way not to let that ruin the relationship that we have with each other. The Iranian people, the Israeli people, and the American people, I think even if we disagree, even if we passionately disagree on the policies, in Washington, D.C. or in Jerusalem, we should still, there is value in finding ways to continue working with each other and cooperating with each other, because I think even if we disagree with strategy, a lot of us want the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, just a quick add-on. When I was a little more passionate before, it's not because it's red tie, blue tie, even though I'm very much a supporter of President Trump. It wasn't like I'm defending, you can't criticize the office of the president or a policy. Rather, it was my anger stems from the co-option of that just act to serve a partisan goal at the direct cost of Iranian people, who then hear that and think somehow they've been abandoned. I promise you, nobody's abandoned you. And Armin is 100% right. When I say the free peoples of the world are with you, independent of what happens at the national level or how it's misrepresented by the regime remnants, I mean that. Right? You have Ukrainian defense forces that are getting involved. You have global war on terror veterans that love you. The patriotic bloc loves you. I just don't know how to, I can't reiterate that strongly enough, man. The road is obviously long and the journey hard. You will never be alone again.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Let's go on to Yuval. His topic is ultra-Orthodox in Israel.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you for that.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you for that. So the reason I chose to bring it up is because at the end of the day, it does have a strategic significance to what we normally talk about here. Israel obviously is one stronghold in the trench in the new Cold War. But yesterday or today, actually, and Israelis here are welcome to correct me, those who live in Israel, you had thousands of ultra-Orthodox young ultra-Orthodox Jews protesting in the roads, obstructing traffic. And why did they do that? Because they don't want to go to the army. For political reasons, since 1977, you had a growing number of ultra-Orthodox, young ultra-Orthodox Jews exempt from military service, but it now got to a point that Israelis appealed to the Supreme Court, said, "Hey, that's not just," and we, if they're exempt, I mean, if we're not exempted, why should they be exempted? And the Supreme Court came to the government and said, unless there is a law, you have to start enlisting them. When they start being enlisted and refuse to go, some of them were arrested, and now they're protesting the fact that they are being arrested and not being allowed to slack. Why does this have a strategic importance? The number of ultra-Orthodox that don't join the Israeli army now is in the tens of thousands. So it's not 100, it's not 1,000, it's in the tens of thousands, and that is a number that the army needs. Because one of the problems in the recent war was that the reason the army couldn't hold areas in Gaza, and they cleaned an area, they moved to another, then Hamas reestablished in that area, was because the ground forces didn't have enough manpower to put forces to hold those places that were cleaned out. The army needs more manpower, but as the number of slackers grow, they don't have that. On top of that, the ultra-Orthodox community, because it doesn't see itself as an integral part of the Israeli society, it's like for them it's a foreign land, they also participate less economically. Because the arrangement is, if you just study Torah and you don't work, then you're exempt from the army, then a lot of them just go and study without working, because the minute they stop studying, they have to go to the army, which they don't want to do. So, and because the child support policy in Israel favors families with growing number of children, they also make more children than the average Israeli family. So you have a population which is growing in numbers, not participating in the economy, gets a lot of relief money, I wouldn't say welfare, relief money from the government, and at the same time doesn't go to the army. And that has eventually a strategic effect, because the more they grow in the Israeli society, and their proportion grows in the Israeli society, the more they grow in the Israeli society, the weaker Israel becomes. The weaker Israel becomes, the more likely it is to not being able to meet the challenges that it's supposed to meet. And that's very bad news for the free world, because Israel is an important stronghold for the free world. If one day, God forbid, Israel doesn't meet its challenges, it's very bad news for the rest of the free world. So this is a chink in the armor that keeps widening and widening with the years, and I could see it widening during decades. Just to give you an example of how this society grows, there is a town in Israel that is called Arad. Arad used to be a secular town, and it used to be actually every year you even had a music festival in Arad. So there was this kind of once a year you had kind of a little Israeli Woodstock there. Now Arad is half of Arad is ultra-Orthodox. Neighborhoods in Jerusalem that used to be secular neighborhood or secular and Orthodox, but not ultra-Orthodox, are now ultra-Orthodox. So that's a chink in the Israeli armor that keeps widening and widening, and I thought people should be aware of it. And sorry, one more thing. The irony is that those who support them the most and allow them to get away with it are the Israeli political right wing, because they need them in their coalition. So those who support the most unpatriotic segment of Jewish society are those political parties that pretend to be the most patriotic.
Are the vast two questions before we go to people who want to add to this? First of all, are the vast majority of the Israeli people against this, or not? One, two. Do you see this resolving? Like, do you see this eventually getting fixed, or is this going to get worse and worse and worse? And do you see no solution for this in sight? Just those two answers.
So the answer for the first question is, I would assume that the answer is yes, though I didn't see any survey about it. Maybe those who live in Israel would give us more insight. But I would assume that the vast majority is against it. But again, I'm talking to people who, in most cases, come from my own background or similar, or who served in the army. So obviously, I hear their opinions. I don't know about any survey about it. Do I see it resolved? Every election, there is this hope that this time, those that will be elected will put an end to it. And every election, we're being disappointed again, and that's been going on since I first voted in 1988. In 1992, a secular left-wing party was the main partner in the coalition, and said, okay, that's it. Now they're going to put an end to it. Nothing happened. So I can only try and be optimistic, but to be honest, I don't see why anything should be different than the way it was before. They're going to keep growing. They're going to keep slacking. They're going to keep getting benefits from the government, and it will be a feedback cycle that I genuinely fear would negatively affect the future of Israel.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go to responses. Samantha's first. What? I heard you. Your sound is fine.
Okay, can you go before me though? If you have a two, I want to hear you first.
Okay. Sketch is before me, so Sketch, go.
Sketch.
I just had a question. Hello. I just had a question. It's probably a question to Yuval. How are these? You say these people are not contributing as far as militarily. Do they contribute in other ways, or are they more of a? Let me see if I can put it delicately. Are there net taxpayers or net tax cost? You understand what I'm saying? Because we have communities.
They're leeches. I'll put it less delicately. They're leeches on society. Yes. Okay. And also their argument is that they protect Israel spiritually, but with prayers and reading the Torah. That's their argument. But you go on. Yuval can respond. But
say that some of them get into the taxpayer cycle, so some of them become taxpayers, but as a rule, no. And it's built in such a way that they cannot, because the way the arrangement goes is, if all what you do is study Torah, then you're exempt. So obviously, if officially speaking, you stop just studying Torah, you lose your right to be exempt. And that's what keeps them there. Or if they do choose to work, they work what we say in Hebrew in black. So they work without paying taxes, because officially they cannot work. If they would officially join the economical cycle, then they won't be able to be exempt anymore. So if they do work, they work without paying. Many of them work without paying taxes or without involving the government, because they don't want the government to know that they're not in the yeshiva studying Torah.
So let me actually simplify this, Sketch, for you to understand. There's no tax to be paid, because the way it works is that because they're studying the Torah all the time, that means that they shouldn't be working, so they're not making any income to pay taxes on it. And in fact, the government is paying them subsidies for the sake of studying the Torah, so they don't have any income. And not only that, they make their wives take care of, like, I don't know, a whole bunch of children, and work at the same time outside. So they stay home and they go to these, Torah yeshiva places to study the Torah, and they don't work at all. They just study the Torah, but they get benefits from the government for how many children that they have. And also their wives are supposed to do all the home cooking and cleaning and taking care of like, I don't know, 7 or 8 kids that they have. And the wives go outside and work to bring in extra income for the family, while the husband does absolutely nothing at all and just sits home and reads the Torah.
We have that problem here with some voting blocks, but they tend to be, I'm guessing these people aren't as violent of some of the voting blocks that we have over here. Like, we have that over here, like some voting blocks that are allowed to just, not have to take any jobs, not have to get off the food stamps, not have to get off the Section 8. Like, usually it's a voting block that votes left, but they tend to be more violent. I'm hoping, I still see it as a bad voting block, because when you're catering to a voting block, you're leaving out a lot of people. But I'm hoping they're not as violent as the leftist voting blocks that are basically pampered and subsidized here.
They can get violent, but so far I don't think they were as violent as the voting blocks you're referring to. But starting yesterday was a new level of audacity. And that is what made me concerned, because in those towns where they are the majority or they feel strong, they do get more violent. So my fear is that they're growing strong, their confidence grows stronger. So just you understand, in Israel yesterday they obstructed the traffic in major roads, in the road from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, in the roads on the coastal plains. Those are major roads. And they felt confident enough to come in their hundreds, if not thousands, and obstruct the traffic. So they grow stronger in their confidence. They become more audacious, and my fear is they will become more violent.
I think for a lot of them, the problem is the other way around, that they argue that we can't be violent. That's why we don't want to participate in the army. Like, I wish they were actually violent against terrorists. They're like, other people could go be violent against the terrorists, but not us. We're non-violent people. So that's the problem with them. Yeah,
they're not pacifistic. That's not the reason they don't go. So it's not a matter of I'm a pacifist, that's why I don't go.
I didn't say pacifist, because they do say other people should go fight the terrorists. That's pacifist was saying, like, nobody should participate in war. That's not what I'm suggesting, that they're pacifists. They're saying that our contribution is spiritual warfare. That's our contribution.
These are the same people that are willing to spit on Christians in the streets. Like, I don't think that it comes from a place of non-violence. It really seems like
I'm not saying that's the main argument, but I just heard some of them argue that we don't do war, we just do prayer. Like, some of them say that.
Right.
Kat actually comes from such a community. I'm sure she has some insight. If she would it be all right if the mod would let her
so
speak?
She could put it. I mean, we don't need to let her speak. She puts it too in the chat, and then she will be added to the list. Like, we're not stopping her. Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. She put it too. I'll call her, but I'm first. Okay. So I also see this as a big problem, and it only grows bigger over time. But I don't think it's fair to blame the Israeli right for this coalition. There's no rule against leftist parties forming a coalition with right-wing parties and sidelining the ultra-Orthodox. But the political right thinks that the issues the left won't compromise on are more serious than the ultra-Orthodox issue. which I agree with, because left-wing parties, for example, wanted to surrender the Gaza war before Israel went into Rafah, before Sinwar died, before we got back the hostages. And the left-wing parties also agree that these issues are more important than the ultra-Orthodox issue, because if they didn't, then they would form a coalition with the right. So in the end, what voters are left with is a choice between ignoring the ultra-Orthodox issue for another few years, or between temporarily adopting every idiotic security policy that the left can imagine. And those are quite many.
Wow, that was
Danny, the thing is that whatever the left-wing party would give the ultra-Orthodox, the right-wing would give them even more. The right-wing was the best political partner for the ultra-Orthodox, and you seem a bit young, so I'm not sure you remember the year of 92 or the 90s and the 80s. And in the 80s and the 90s, the left-wing parties, some of them spoke against the exemption of those ultra-Orthodox. But when it came to the money time and they had the political power, they didn't do anything about it. And the problem is they thought they could get for example, during the Oslo Accord, they thought they could get the ultra-Orthodox to their side, and they didn't realize that whatever they give to the ultra-Orthodox, the so-called patriotic right wing would give them even more. So no one here is exempt from guilt. It's both the left wing and the right wing that are guilty of the power that these guys got.
Well, כשיש רבים, השלישי לוקח. Okay, Cat Lady is next to respond.
When two people fight, the third guy get the gains.
Yeah, that's a Hebrew saying.
Okay, Cat.
So I never heard that saying, but I'm not that excited to talk about it. I don't think it interests anyone here or relevant. I think it's complicated.
Actually, you're very wrong about that. This is actually very important and very relevant, and I think a lot of people are interested. But you go on.
Okay. I come from such communities, specifically the Arad one. So yeah, they can be violent in some ways when they want to, not because of some ideology or whatever, but because they are specifically they have this thing of we will get what we want, or we will do some smart things or not smart things, but mostly smart, and they use it, specifically violence. But in this point, they're not a violent community all over. But it's not the same people. It's too complicated. It's so many different people, so many different agendas. I would caution just to see if maybe they are used to break down some coalition. Maybe that also can be a motive. Like, I don't know. That's my response. And to say they're religious, I would agree, but then again, when someone will say it, I would be like, oh, no, don't say it. It's like they have serious societal issues regarding how they see their place in the state. They didn't completely get over the Second World War. They're still in defense mode. That's the issue. Specifically where I come from, it's not about only not working. It's mostly about keeping the identity of being closed in the community, like in Europe, which will not work in the long term, in my opinion. But I don't know.
It's a cult mentality.
Yes, but at the same time, there is this very real thing that when you push a community too forcefully, they can do the other way around. So you need to do it smartly, not like this. And beyond that, I don't know. They're not like all the same people. They can be pragmatic. There has to be better ways to approach this.
Just to be clear to people, there are many. When we say ultra-Orthodox, we're talking about a very specific group of people who are not serving. There are many religious Zionists within Israel who are extremely religious and they serve the army. and obviously I don't agree with them in their being religious, but I don't want to, just because I don't agree with religious people, I don't want to act like all religious people within Israel are the problem. There are a huge group of religious Zionists within Israel that are proud members of the IDF, and they're actually some of the best fighters within the IDF. So like, we have many different groups of religious segments of Israel. We have some of them who are these ultra-Orthodox who don't serve in the army, and they're not productive, they're not contributing to society. We have a tiny segment of religious Jews, very religious Jews in Israel, who are actually anti-Zionist as a whole. They're anti-Israel as a country, because they think that Israel shouldn't be a country until the Messiah comes back. And you also have some religious Zionists who are not only Zionists, obviously, but also some of the best fighters within the IDF. So they come in all forms. It's not actually just like, just because we're saying ultra-Orthodox not serving, it doesn't necessarily mean that all religious person in Israel means that they are, not contributing members of society. It's not that simple.
I would just add, Armin, that this thing of ultra-Orthodox not going to the army, that was not always the case. So when Israel was founded, you had only 400 yeshiva students that were exempt. That in 1948, only 400 yeshiva students were exempt, not tens of thousands. And my great-grandfather was a ultra-Orthodox from the Lithuanian school. It's a part of the ultra-Orthodox. And all his sons served the country already in the underground, even before the independence. So it's not, and he was happy about it. He didn't have any problem with it, even though they were not religious. But he didn't have a problem with his sons going and serving the future state of Israel. It's a thing that evolved during the years, and it was not always a characteristic of the ultra-Orthodox community.
Okay. All right, Danny.
Okay, one more response from Samantha.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not fair that they're not, participating and helping share, the burden of going to the army. But I think I do care more about being pragmatic in how we go about this than necessarily like full force with what's fair. One strategy I heard from like Anat Wilf, who is a politician, is that we should consider what's it called? Basically saying that if you don't
you're
want to
cutting
serve in the army.
Okay, Samantha, you're
Samantha,
cutting in and out.
but I know what Anat Wolf says about this, so
Okay, I mean,
before you. Oh, okay, you're back. Go ahead.
Try again, and
okay, yeah. So I mean, yeah. So like, I heard Anat Wilf, who's a politician in Israel, say that she thinks that if you choose not to serve in the army, you're essentially choosing not to be part of the state, and therefore, as someone who's chose not to be part of the state, you shouldn't get benefits from the state. So, to me, like, I feel like that's probably one of the best strategies to like go about this. If we can get left and right to basically somehow form a coalition that can enforce this, and if this is enough of an issue, like, you should be willing to at some point face this issue and give up other things to be able to tackle the issue.
okay.
And from
Dijal.
Yeah, aren't these the guys that the IDF sent some women to go deal with, and they started attacking the women and all that shit? Same fucking people. You know about that, Kat?
Women, I'm not sure I heard about that.
Yeah, they sent some. I forget what the details, but they sent some women from the IDF to go like deliver a message or something, or talk to somebody, and there was a bunch of ultra orthodox faggots surrounding them and threatening them. I've also seen videos of a few of them actually fighting the ultra orthodox. The women were the IDF soldiers were fighting back.
I mean,
it wouldn't surprise me if they attacked.
But go on, you will.
it wouldn't surprise me if some, not all Orthodox, but in some neighborhoods, if a woman comes and she is not modestly dressed, she can be attacked. It can happen. It's not. I'm not saying all Orthodox do it, and I'm not saying it's in all neighborhoods. But there are places where if a woman goes and they think she's not modest, someone can suddenly pass and throw a bag of rubbish on her or things along those lines.
Right.
So it would surprise me if these things happen. Whether this represents or something that occurs all the time, I don't know.
Right. So they're just like the Muzzies in that respect. Got it.
I think they're more cautious with bloodshed than the Muslims. I think they're more cautious with that, even though you had at least one case of bloodshed in a gay parade. But generally speaking, I think they're more cautious not to get to bloodshed and murder. That is, but in terms of the zealousy, I think they're as zealous.
Yeah, but these are the sort of people who spit on Christians and other people, right? So, I mean, that's basically what you're talking about. Yeah,
some of them.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, it sounds to me like if the IDF is going to send anyone, they should send some men to go deal with them. We'll see how they deal with that. It sounds to me like the IDF needs to whoop some ass. Just saying.
The IDF sends, when you have those who are called to be enlisted and choose not to be enlisted, the IDF sends the military police, and those are tough guys, but still, they're I think in some cases they're outnumbered, so there's just that much they can do.
Right. Well, a lot of these ultra orthodox that I see, a lot of them look very scrawny and malnourished. So I don't think they'd be much of a challenge for me, honestly. But yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Maybe I haven't looked at them. I haven't looked at them.
All right, let's not get into that conversation. I just want to do a comparison. Digital, if you could close your mic. I'm hearing background. So when it comes to comparing them to Muslims, what you could say in their defense is, like you've all said, is that there is a lot less violence. That's the difference. There's a lot less bloodshed and violence. So that's what they have going for them. The similarities with Muslims is that they veil their woman, right? Is that when I went to the Jewish part of New York, for example, you can see the books that they're selling. They blacken all the parts of the woman's legs and arms showing. I saw that in bookstores in their segment in Tel Aviv and also in New York. That reminded me of Tehran, because in Tehran also any books or any ads with women's in it, they black out the parts that their skin is showing. The position of women in the house is very, like, their understanding is very much like Muslims. In fact, in this area, they're worse than Muslims. So when it comes to violence, they're better than Muslims. But when it comes to the position of the woman in the house, they're worse than Muslims, because Muslims think that women should be submissive, obedient, clean and cook and take care of the children and always serve the husband while the husband goes out and work and brings money. Like, that's the predetermined role that it should be. I mean, I'm not against that if everybody likes that, but that's their understanding, that this predetermined, and there's nothing else should be, no career for women, no going out working. I mean, that's what the Islamic view is. Not all Muslims think that, but that's what Islam teaches. When it comes to ultra-Orthodox, it's worse than Muslims, because they don't think that women should not work outside. They think that women should work inside the home and outside of the home, so Muslims think that women should cook and clean and take care of the children while the husband goes out and work. The ultra-Orthodox think that the husband shouldn't cook or clean and he shouldn't go outside to work. He should just study the Torah, while the wife does both of those jobs: cook, clean, take care of the children, and go out and work to bring money for the household. All of that, which is surprisingly worse than even the Islamic take. Somehow they managed to outdo the Muslims in that department. But again, because violence is a bigger deal than I don't know, how women are, the role of women in the household. I guess it's worse. I think the Muslims still manage to, on average, be worse than the ultra-Orthodox, but in one area, I think the ultra-Orthodox are worse than Muslims, on average. But yeah, okay.
Kat, did you want to respond to this since you come from that background? Okay, then otherwise I have one more response from Jose, and then we can move on.
So I have a question. In the Catholic community, there's been a X short going around of a Catholic nun in full habit being attacked by one of these Orthodox from behind and dropped to the ground. Explain that. Because she's in full habit, which makes her look a lot like a Muslim, except it was all white.
So you're asking if an ultra-Orthodox Jew did that, or you said he did that, and now explain me how it happened.
It was being sent around as that it is an Orthodox Jew that did that to her.
Yeah. So the thing is, I say it could have happened, but as much as I'm critical of the ultra-Orthodox community, I think it's not. It's the exception of the rule. It's not that it doesn't have. It's not that it didn't happen, but I think they're very careful to try most of them not to behave that way. But yeah, it could have happened.
Yeah, it happened, Jose. It was a case. They were talking about. I heard JNS talk about it. That's a Jewish channel. They were talking about it. They condemned it. Or Tobias Singer talking about it. He condemned it. He was arrested and he's being dealt with.
Okay, good enough. Because that's definitely starting to turn the Catholic community. Not yet, but it won't take much more than that to turn the Catholic community into Jew haters. And we're the most supportive of the Jews outside the Pope in this country. So just a heads up.
The way they don't. Kat, you're welcome to correct me, but to the best of my understanding, there is a lot of animosity towards other religions and also within their community towards Christianity, because historically Christianity was seen as a threat because they were trying to convert Jews all the time. And it's in their view, because they don't watch the news and they don't the way we do, in the eyes of many of them, the Catholics are already, or the devout Catholics are already after the Jews. That's the way some of them see it. I know you don't. I know that's not the case, but the way they perceive it, it's like the rest of the world is against us, and we always have to protect ourselves against the rest of the world, lest they try to convert us or persecute us. I think many of them have those.
Why? So you understand why the Catholic Church in the United States and around the world is starting to turn. Just so you know, that woman was on the ground and stayed on the ground. He knocked her unconscious.
I can and I cannot, because I still think that one case of something happening, it can be a trigger, but I would say that in the case of Jews, the threshold, the sensitivity threshold is far higher. So in the case of Jews, it takes one nun to be beaten up, and it starts turning against the Jews. In the case of other communities, it takes a bit more to turn the let's say in that case the Catholic public against the other community. Somehow, when it gets to the Jews, it's far easier to find the reason and start turning against them. That would be my response.
Cat lady?
Yeah, are you talking about the nun, Jose?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you saw the video of the nun and you saw it all, the full length video, I hope you cannot hear the sound that is now here because someone is making an.
Go on. You don't need to. You just go on. Just go and make your point. Yeah.
Okay, so towards the end of the video, you see that the other guys who stopped him were also religious. So and also acts of violence. I can point out about like people getting murdered and killed all over the world by so-called Christians. If I look at it like that, it doesn't mean anything. It means like this guy was jailed. Like you know, it's and we don't know what was his motive. And by the way, the animosity, I'm not sure I would call it animosity. It's fear. It's fear, absolutely, and it's like historical memory. And I would not blame them. I said it before, and people here who are Christians were shocked. But the sight of the cross is kind of like scary, even to me years later, in which I have no problem with Christians. But it's a historical memory. It's understandable, but I wouldn't call it like hatred, animosity. No, it is what it is. We have to face the reality of history, you know?
I'm willing to accept that, but you got to understand the point of view, okay, of most Americans. You attacked an unarmed woman from behind? What a fucking coward, quote unquote.
Okay, but you can say that people were burned in the US, right? Older people. I can, like, of course, violence is horrible and should not happen, of course.
It's just you use the word "you" as if the whole ultra-Orthodox community, as a collective, decided to lynch him.
No one would agree with that, by the way. No one. It's even against the ideology. It's against the Chilul Hashem. I don't know how to say it. You should not.
It's blasphemy. It's blasphemy.
Yeah.
I would say that the thing is, it looks as if it takes very, very little for your community to now turn against the Jews. It's one incident of one person that was taught by members of his own community, and then you're telling me, can you see why they're starting against you? Well, my answer is no. I cannot see it because it's one incident.
Guys,
one incident when we're being blasted by incident after incident, and people saying, that you guys invaded Palestine and took over, and that's nonstop. Okay, you hear that again and again and again and again by the pro-Palestine crowd, and then you see this and it's put in your face. It's not a good view.
We're going in circles.
Let's not talk over
Jason
each
is
other.
next.
Let's go, Jason.
Yeah, can you hear me? So, this whole anti-Semitism thing. First, if you take one incident and that allows you to hate a certain people because this one person did that, that's narrow-minded. The amount of anti-Semitism that's going on in America right now is astronomical. I am one of the truest American patriots you ever meet. I hate the government. I hate what they stand for, but I got to follow the rules and regulations because that's what they set for. But if you take one incident to hate a people, you're shallow-minded. Let's just look at the incident that just happened the other day in Montreal when the dude went in there and shot up, a bunch of Jews, killed a police officer. We take that one incident and let's just hate that people for who they are. That's still narrow-minded. This one individual chose to do something should not make you feel any way towards another people. You are a free thinker. You have your own mind. You have your own thoughts. You base your beliefs and your opinions or whatever off of those thoughts, but you base it off of things that are reality. So as far as this one incident, if the Catholic Church or whatever chooses to hate the Jews because of it, narrow-minded. The Pope is freaking endorsing Islam. So I have nothing with the Catholic Church. He endorses Islam. That's all I got to say.
He won't be. There's a good possibility that he's going to get impeached because the cardinals of the Vatican are extremely pissed off at him. And he just threatened to, an opposing view, to excommunicate an entire branch of the Catholic Church in Germany for an opposing view. Okay?
So then why is
not that we don't agree with him. All I'm saying is okay, that video is going around in circles. It hasn't changed my mind. I'll still support Israel. I'll still support. Most of the people I know are still supporting, but they're pointing at that. It's saying, what's happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Okay, how many times do we have to pay? How many times does the Catholic Church have to pay for some idiots in history?
How many times do the Jews have to pay for some idiot's freaking response? Like, I'm freaking English and Irish. There's nobody Jewish in my family, but the things that I see today, fucking 1939 Germany, like the amount of rhetoric going on it's Nazi fucking Germany. Like the Jews are the Jew hate is astronomical. It has to come to a point where you stop hating the people. You can hate the government all you want, but the people do not make up the government. And that's what I'm seeing all around. Even with this right here, you're taking one incident. I understand where you're coming from, Jose, but you're taking one incident. Let it circulate all over social media. If that one incident changes people's minds to hate Israel, then they're just fucking narrow-minded.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying. I happen to agree with you, okay, about everything you just said. I just was saying that as a warning, okay? Like I said, I'm pro-Israel. I love Bibi, okay? I want them to knock out every goddamn member of Hamas and Hezbollah on the planet. I'll be happy for that slaughter, okay? But you got to understand, a lot of people in this country, all it takes is one item and they change their mind. It's what Sketch keeps talking about, the undecided. You know, that's the group.
The animal that is
circles. We're repeating. Okay.
Yeah. Let's go on. Armin, put it too.
Okay. So first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Catholic Church has done a lot more shit against the Jews than the Jews against Catholics, like by a huge margin throughout history, like by a huge margin. So let's not, if we want to keep scores here, like I don't think it's going to look good, right? And even then, even with the huge margin, we don't want to hold all Catholics responsible for what the Catholics have done. So let's not go down that route. Also, another point is that imagine what the standard here is for the Jews. Like for the expectation is not to have any shitty people. Like nobody is going to be able to meet that standard. Like nobody is going to be able to meet that standard. Like, oh, you have a guy that is violent against a nun, you better be careful. Like, okay, what are we supposed to do? Have zero shitty people? Like, does any population of people manage to get that to that standard that they have zero shitty people? So that is a very, I think, unrealistic expectation, especially when the guy was arrested by other Jews. Like what else should we do? Like, do you want us to, like, I don't know, torture him, skin him alive? We arrested the guy. So he got punished. So what else? Like, if there's a criticism, like, what would you do if you were us? Like, the expectation is that somebody does a crime, you go arrest the guy and you punish them, and that's what we did. Like, what else do you want us to do? So yeah, I also had accept Jesus. Kat said the expectation is to accept Jesus. Okay, actually that's a good segue, because I had a question for Kat. If you could answer it, it is very small. Give me a short response to this. When you say you see the cross and that's kind of scary, is that because of the historical persecution of Jews by Christians? Is that why you find the cross kind of scary, or am I missing something here?
Yeah, it's not personally to me. It's the stories of, like, I don't know if it's all true stories or not, but there are stories of, like, missionaries, it might be fairy tales, like missionaries and the children would go into the monastery and then come back or whatever. Yeah, it's that. It's nothing about religion itself. It's yeah, like I don't know, Inquisition or whatever.
Do you think
there are a lot of stories? Sorry, there are a lot of stories, a lot of history about a priest giving kids candies to get them to the church, baptizing them, and then keeping, like in old times, yes. And then once the kid is baptized, the church can take it from the Jewish family. Obviously, false conversions, incitement against the Jews. There's a lot of bad history between the church and religious Jews, I guess, not against people like me, I guess, but religious Jews, and it stayed in the narrative of traditional Jewish communities. So so the general sentiment in such communities is of being on the defense all the time, always keeping a watchful eye and being on the defense when it comes to Christendom.
So would you say there is a generational trauma regards to Christian symbols among some Jews?
Among some Jews, I would say yes. I don't know what cats you want.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next. And guys, I only have 4 minutes and we have 7 super chats. So Danny, who's talking next?
And I think we gotta cut it and go to the super chats because we're gonna run out of time for sure.
Yeah, I do want to. Can we do it? I do want to hear other people. Can we do like 30 seconds each?
Yeah.
30 seconds each.
Okay, 30 seconds each. I have Wyatt, Jeffrey, and Sketch. So Wyatt, please.
Skip me and go to the super chats.
Free.
Jeffrey.
Sometimes good people do bad things. Sometimes bad people do good things. I hope I'm the former. Quite often, I fear I might be the latter. It also applies to groups of people too.
Okay.
And lastly, Sketch.
What I was gonna say, like, as long as most of the community denounces people that do this, it's fine. The problem is when the community, if you don't police the worst among you, you are defined by them. The problem we have is when this happens in UK and it's, the rape gangs, right? They don't denounce them. If most Pakistanis said, this is horrible, we will cooperate with the investigation, we hate this, it would be a very different story, right? If they would testify and say, hey, this is bad, we don't like this, it would be a different story. It's just that if most of these people are against this, then they don't get to define you by these worst of people. The only time you get defined by the worst among you is when you don't police them, when you don't push them out, when you don't denounce them. That's when it's like, hey, this is what the difference between conservatives and liberals sometimes is, that we denounce when some right-wing nutjob does something stupid. We say, hey, that's horrible. We don't support that. That's why it's hard to define us by that. The other side kind of excuses it, and if there's people excusing it, it's bad. If by what I'm hearing, like, I'm not very familiar with this, but by what I'm hearing, people within that community didn't like that and kind of denounced it. Is that what I'm getting? Okay, yeah. Then if they said, hey, this is a bad thing, they don't get defined by it.
Okay.
Super chats.
Super chats. We got 8 guys. Thank you so much. I didn't expect that. So Fleshy Interloper with the super chat saying school chart transponders on and dark transits. So guys, Fleshy Interloper posts on school. He goes by a different name there, but it's the same user profile picture. He keeps putting data regarding the tankers and the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. So if you guys want, he looks at everything. He looks at the traffic there, transponders on and off, the amount of oil is going through. So if anybody wants to see that, go look into the main page of the school community, and it's all there. So thank you, Fleshy. That's for helping with us with that. That's really helpful. Thank you. Amir with a super chat saying Yuval Burger. Thank you. Yeah, Yuval. Yuval. People were really praising you when you were talking about the ultra orthodox situation in Israel. People on YouTube chat were really happy that you were bringing it up, and Amir the Cricket was saying thank you. Thank you, Amir.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Hezi, thank you so much for the super chat. Hezi saying stats show. What is this? Haredim, did I pronounce it right? Haredim receive more public funds than the taxes they pay as a group. Okay, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I used the word that I did, but maybe I shouldn't repeat that word. Shauna, thank you so much for the super chat saying I'm an American and have no say, but I think it's really bad that Israeli women serve, but these particular men don't serve. Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I don't think you need to be Israeli to comment at this. I think you don't. I mean, Americans, Israelis should be able to comment on Iran. You don't have to be Iranian to comment on that. Americans could comment on Israel. Israelis could comment on America. We live in a very connected world, so I think that, and as an American, you have the highest level of free speech available to you. So I think I see a lot of people oh, you're not American, so you shouldn't speak about America, or you're not Israeli, so stop talking about Israel. I think that's ridiculous. We live in a very connected world, and I think everybody should be able to comment and even influence all politics everywhere in the world. And yeah, and Shana, I agree with your comment. Bar, thank you so much for the super chat saying exactly how Jew hatred works throughout history. Oh yeah, basically taking the worst within a community and try to make that person represent the whole group. Yep. True. Hezi, thank you so much for the super chat saying if people change their minds on one incident, go talk to them instead of warning Jews. Oh yeah, maybe those are the people who need to change. We should be warning them regarding the way that they come up with conclusions. Yeah, that makes sense. And Ida with the super chat saying, oops, what did I walk into? Never mind, love you. I like Ida's super chat. She's like, oops, what did I walk into? Never mind, love you. And also, as usual, dumb motherfucker. Ida wants me to say that. Hamid, thank you so much for another super chat saying, the world should know that if Israel did not fight against extremist Islamists, we would witness many terrorist operations in Europe and America, which is why we Iranians trust Israel. Thank you, Hamid. Thank you for the super chat. And I completely agree with that. The whole world owes Israel. And I think more people need to know that. 100% agree with that. All right, guys. You guys continue the conversation here. I'm going to go get ready. I'm going to go eat something and get ready for the next stream. Guys, on YouTube, we're going to go live again in half an hour. But the conversation here in our communities continues without me. If you guys want to join, again, the link is in the description. The link is in the QR code on the top right. The link is in the chat. The link is also in the bio section of Liberty Politics YouTube channel. So I'll either join the conversation or I'll see you in half an hour in my next stream. And also don't forget to like and subscribe and all the stuff that helps the channel. So guys, same time tomorrow. Until then, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainia, Cuba Libre, Long live America, Javicha, Payande, Iran. See you guys soon.